What's up, everyone? It's Diego with Listenersnotes. Today we're going to be talking about the new album from Jarren Benton. This one is called the Mink Killa. Jarren Benton is an Atlanta rapper who was a member of the Funk Volume group, a label that was spearheaded by Hopsin. Dizzy Wright was involved, a few others as well, but now that has been defunct for I think over a year. Jarren definitely wasn't the biggest one in that group, so he has a fan base, but I feel like he's had to do a lot of digging to continue his sound, but I feel like he's doing a good job. I mean, I've always enjoyed his style. Jarren's style in the past was these wild and violent, absurd bars over some just banging loud trap beats, and to me he's the kind of artist where I enjoy his features, I enjoy tracks from him, but his style doesn't really suit a full album. Like, he just gets irritating after a while. And I've seen people say that he's a one-dimensional artist, and I agree. I get where it's coming from, and I think it's that lack of versatility that tends to stop him, since his full lengths are usually like an hour long. But this new album here, it's 50 minutes, so I guess it's shorter, and it still suffers from a lot of the same problems, but let's dive into it and talk about what I mean specifically. So lyrically, Jarren's verses tend to be a mixed bag. He's jumping from one ridiculous line to the next. It makes for an entertaining verse, but of course, because of that, sometimes the content is a little choppy, so I wouldn't go into a song expecting a specific issue to be talked about, because a lot of the time he just flips through specific things and you have to pick up good lines or just gems of content and stuff like that. And like I was saying, the issue with that through the course of an album is it's hard to differentiate between songs. It kind of makes each song not very memorable for me, and that hurts the album as a whole, in my opinion. There are a couple of songs towards the back end of the album where Jarren tends to focus on a specific topic. They're usually more emotional, and they kind of aren't as entertaining as when he's just going wild and giving these lyrical assaults of randomness. But then at the same time, at least I remember what those songs are. Like, the entire first half of the album is him just going wild, but I can't tell you anything about these songs except maybe some differences in the beats. This is where Jarren has really changed up his sound. He dropped his usual sound, which was a trap banger sort of thing, beats that were made by Kato, and now he has these boom bap beats. And with those boom bap beats comes some influence from Wu-Tang that I might not have seen earlier, but it makes sense because they've always had cartoony, violent sort of lyrics, but not to this extent. I've just always seen Eminem as an influence for Jarren because he's just such a shock value guy, and Jarren is so shock value. But I can see both of those working hand in hand. I really enjoyed a lot of the production here, and what's great about the beats is that they really give a few of these songs a distinct personality. A lot of these beats have some good samples, like the song Tears, which has this melodic sample that steals the show for me, or the song C.R.E.A.M 17, Cash Rules Everything Around Me. It's a Wu-Tang reference. Like, these songs, they stand out just because the beat, the sample, for C.R.E.A.M, it was, of course, they actually sampled the hook of Cash Rules Everything Around Me. And honestly, I'm glad that there is a lot of boom bap here, because lately for me, I've been getting a little tired of trap. It's just getting repetitive to me. Yes, I get that boom bap was repetitive, but for me, for someone who listens to a lot of new stuff more so than my favorites, it was sort of a refreshing thing. And honestly, the drums on these songs, they do knock, they do have good power, and that's what I like in boom bap. Your drums have to hit hard. Still, I don't think the beats are enough to really make each song sound distinct on this album. Like I mentioned before, the emotional tracks are specific, and that's a good thing. Like, for example, the song Breakup, where Jarren is detailing issues with his wife, and how his kids are dealing with it. He's still wild, but it's a reserved version. The second half of this album is where things start to get tough for me, but these emotional songs like Breakup for the most part really aren't Jarren's strength at all. It's actually one of his bigger weaknesses because he really still comes off his goofy way. Like occasionally some of his bars just sound off. Like he's saying something super emotional and then he'll come with like an Eminem or Wu-Tang shock value kind of line and it just doesn't click. And then also he uses his same sort of flow, his goofy ad-libs where he does that like yell, that yelp. And it just, if you're trying to make an emotional song, nothing kills the mood more than those things. Overall, you know, I don't mind this album. I think it's actually a pretty solid record. The production was pretty good. I got some good entertainment out of Jarren's vocals. You know, it wasn't quite good enough for me to recommend it, but I will say I didn't hate this, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who will like this more than me, to be honest. I do hope in the future he finds a way to make his songs more distinct, though. I think the only ways that he could really do this is by either focusing on more distinct topics, obviously less emotional ones that will fit his style more, something that'll keep him focused, or really he should employ some more off-the-wall and varied production. I think the latter is more possible for Jarren. I think Jarren's cartoony personality would probably fit over some wild sample-based production from Madlib or the Avalanches, and I think that could make something special. Actually, I think the Avalanches in particular just have a really goofy style, and it just fits Jarren so well. They could do that, honestly. But anyway, this album's a 69 out of 100 for me. It's solid, but I don't think I'll ever be returning to it, to be completely honest. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of this album in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next video.